If you've been around here at your Organize HQ for a while, you know that we love to talk about decluttering because there are just so many benefits. Once you declutter something, you never have to touch it again. It lowers anxiety. I feel so much better in a clutter-free home, and I want that for all of you. So I want to share how you can speed this up and declutter 60% faster. So listen up and be sure to stay tuned to the end because the last thing I'm going to share is the one that I think is the most overlooked. I feel like I just don't hear people talking about this one all the time. And I think it is one of the single most important ways that you can speed up your decluttering progress. I recommend starting with one small area to declutter so that you can build momentum and work on that area until it's done. And you might be thinking, I can see why that's good advice, but how does that actually help you to declutter faster? Because you still have all the same spaces to declutter. However, by sticking in one space, you're eliminating how much you're going back and forth. And the reason that building momentum actually helps you go faster is once you see that progress, you're naturally going to want to declutter more and are going to be more excited about it, which probably means you're literally going to do it a little bit faster. So it really can speed up. And then when you combine it with the rest of the tips, you're going to be going way faster. Using a timer and racing the clock is a great way to make a ton of progress because anytime there's something counting down, we just naturally go a little bit faster. And I kind of like to make a game of it and see how much can I get done in the next 20 minutes. And along with this, going in small bursts means that you can work at max speed. If I'm going to just set a timer for 20 minutes and really try to do as much as I can really go as fast as I reasonably can. Versus if I'm going to be decluttering for long periods of time, I'm probably not going to be able to work at max speed for a solid 4 hours or something like that. This one is huge. Use boxes or bins with decluttering signs so you don't forget what the bin is for while you're decluttering instead of having to take the item where it goes right away. So if I'm decluttering a drawer, I'm going to go ahead and put the item in one of the bins. And then when I'm done with the session, I'll go take those bins wherever they need to go. If I need to put it somewhere else, I'll go put it where it belongs. This saves a ton of time because you're not stopping what you're doing decluttering and going into another location in the house to put something away, or you're not going out to your car to put something away. Instead, you're just sorting it right then and there. So you're drastically reducing the amount of what I call travel time throughout your home. Now, one caveat to this is going to sound strange, but sometimes I try to be intentionally inefficient with my decluttering and take more time. And you might be thinking, why on the face of this earth would you do this? That is because I have a goal of getting an average of 12,000 steps a day. That's a lot of steps, y'all. And I like to fit that in as much as possible without having to do like a 5-mile walk. That's a little over 5 miles, by the way, every day. So I like to get it in naturally throughout my day, and being really inefficient with tasks is one way that I do that. So sometimes, not always, if I just need to get it done, I've got those bins, boxes, I'm not taking extra steps. But if I have a little bit of extra time and I want to combine it with getting some steps, I will intentionally be really inefficient and take one item to the other side of the house where it goes and then come back. But that is the only exception, and I acknowledge that I'm being less efficient with it. Keeping a decluttering kit on hand can save you time, and it's very simple. If you spend an extra 5 or 10 minutes to set this up, then every time you go to declutter, it's going to be easier. So in that decluttering kit, I would definitely have trash bags, either laundry baskets or boxes, and then I would print out decluttering signs. I have a link to mine down below if you want to get those and print those out. I like to laminate them so I can reuse them time and time again. I also have some tape to tape them onto boxes or bins. I also like to even leave the boxes with the signs on them set up as much as possible so that I am ready to go when it's time to declutter. I am really making progress instead of going and finding boxes and bins and all this. I have it there ready to go. Scheduling donation pickups rather than driving things to a donation center yourself can obviously save you the time of going to the donation center. And as an added bonus, many of us kind of look at that as a deadline, and we try to get as much stuff gathered up before that happens as possible, which kind of spurs you on to get a little bit more done. For the most part, using the touch it once rule is going to speed you up. So when you're decluttering, you're not like touching an item, setting it off aside, doing this, doing that. You are touching the item once and making a decision on what happens to it. 90% of the time. Along with only touching an item once, it's really important to make decisions faster, because a lot of decluttering time is spent on literally deciding what to do with the item. So the faster you can become at making decisions, the faster you're going to go. One thing that helps a ton with making faster decisions is realizing that every item really only has 4 different categories that it can go into. That narrows it down, rather than like picking up an item and being like, oh my goodness, all these things can happen to it. I go in depth about this and this method in my course, Declutter You. So if you're interested, definitely click the link below and check that out. But that's one tip I have for really speeding up that decision-making process. This one is huge. When you are putting items away, do not get distracted in decluttering that new space. So if I'm at the end of my decluttering session and I've identified several items that belong in a different space, I've got those in a box or a bin, and I'm going to go take them to where they belong. If that space is still cluttered and not organized, I'm just going to put them in there. Now, if that space has already been decluttered and organized, I'm going to place it where it belongs, like where its home is, but I'm not stopping and getting distracted with tackling that particular space. Otherwise, you just kind of go in this endless maze of hopping from place to place, but you never really get something finished. This is another thing I've talked about a lot. Many have said it is a game changer for them, but that is to keep outboxes in all sorts of places in your home. And by outbox, I mean like in your closet, you have a bin of stuff that you want to declutter. So that way, when I'm getting ready in the morning, if I try on an outfit and I'm like, I'm never going to wear these pants again, they look hideous, I don't know what I was thinking when I bought them. That literally happened to me yesterday. When that does happen, I can just put them right into that outbox, and I don't have to ever think about it again. I don't have to come back and decide later. So making it ridiculously easy. As soon as you realize you don't need something, put it in there. And here's the deal. That took no extra time. I just literally put it in that outbox. And then when you're taking donations, you go to the different outboxes, gather them all up into a box, and take it to the donation center. A huge way to make this process go faster is to declutter in small pockets of wasted time. This means that you don't have to add anything to your schedule, but you're still making progress. So for example, if I'm heating up my soup in the microwave and it takes 2 minutes, what can I do? I can take those 2 minutes and I can find an item to declutter. And I'm not adding a whole bunch of extra work, but if you did that even once a day, and many of us have more pockets than that, you could do it 2 or 3 times a day, that is well over 360 items a year. Another way to make decluttering go faster is to literally focus on decluttering and not organizing as you go. I think often decluttering and organizing go hand in hand, and actually that there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're like, I really need to declutter and I want to make fast progress, then don't organize at the same time, because usually the organizing, like the grouping like items together, do you need a bin or whatever, do you need a label, that takes a lot longer than just decluttering. So if you just focus on the decluttering, you will be able to get that done tons faster, and you're already going to enjoy the benefits of less stuff to manage. The rule of never leaving a room empty-handed is another way to tidy up and get rid of things without adding extra set aside dedicated time. So whenever you're leaving a room, or especially if you're going up or down the stairs, ask, what do I need to take with me to put away or get rid of? So if there's something there that needs to be gotten rid of, just go ahead and do it right there. And even if a lot of these might be items that you're keeping, tidying up actually helps decluttering go faster. Because if I'm going to tidy or declutter a space, I kind of need to tidy it up first so I can put things away and then see what my actual clutter is. This is the one that I think is often overlooked, but probably makes the biggest difference in keeping your home clutter-free in far less time. And that is to watch what comes into your home and celebrate the things that you don't buy, the clutter that you never bring in, just as much as the stuff you've decluttered. So often, we have decluttering checklists and we celebrate every item that we declutter, which is great, and we should, but we should equally be celebrating the clutter that we choose not to bring in. And in a subtle way, this is how you can start to keep your home clutter-free without spending a lot of time. And in a sense, that makes it go faster, because if I am decluttering, but every day I'm bringing in more clutter, it's just like this endless hamster wheel that never ends, and I'm never going to get done. Versus if I can stop that influx of clutter, I'm going to make progress a whole lot faster. Now, this is not to say that I think it's realistic or reasonable to never bring clutter in, nor do I believe that if you spend a lot of time decluttering and you get everything decluttered, that you will never declutter again. That is not true. I think it's a continuous thing. I think we change, we evolve, kids get older. There are a lot of legitimate reasons to get rid of things. That doesn't mean that you necessarily brought extra clutter into your home. However, we still have a lot of times where we are bringing this extra clutter in, and we could have just saved ourselves a lot of time if we didn't do this. And I can give you a couple of tangible examples that have happened recently for me. I was shopping at the grocery store and I saw this really cute dish drying mat. It had like this cute design on it. It was on sale and it was only like $5. And I also dry my dishes on my counter. I have this thing about them getting completely dry because I'm afraid of mildew. I don't know why. Anyway, so they're out there drying a lot, and I was like, oh, I can make use of this. But then I realized I use towels right now, and they work just fine. I just lay out kitchen dish towels. I have all matching dish towels. They sit nicely in the cupboard. And if I buy this drying mat, this is now something else that I have to maintain and store when what I had was already working. And then where would I store it? Like, I don't know. It wouldn't really fit well in with the dish towels. And so I realized I didn't actually need that item. And I'd be willing to bet that I would use it for a couple months and declutter it. So I went ahead and resisted. The same is true. I've been seeing those they're called Dash waffle makers. They're teeny tiny. They have these like interchangeable plates so you can make cute waffles. And I love these things. Okay. And we actually make a lot of waffles, pancakes, things like that. But I realized we'd be excited about it at first. And I bet I would use it all the time for like 2 months. And then it would sit in my pantry for another year, and then I'd declutter it. I just know. So I just opted not to bring that item in the first place. So let's start celebrating that, and let's start making checklists and like celebrating the items that we don't buy, and you're going to see your progress add up so much faster. Now, if you want to make your progress even faster and make steadier progress, I highly recommend you check out Declutter You. It is linked down below. It is our brand new course walking you through everything that you need to get your entire home decluttered.